In the underworld of crime, few names have been as revered and feared as that of Lucky Luciano. Nothing about Charles Lucky Luciano's early life suggested that he would one day become a legend in the world of organized crime. Born on November 24, 1897, in the humble town of La Cara Friddi, Sicily, Lucky was just another child in a large immigrant family. He was christened Salvatore Lucania, a name that would later morph into the notorious moniker we know today. In 1906, at the tender age of 9, Lucky and his family packed their lives into suitcases and boarded a ship to America, the land of dreams and opportunities. They settled in New York's Lower East Side, a neighborhood that was, at the time, a melting pot of cultures, languages, and most importantly for our story, crime. Growing up in this gritty environment, Lucky was exposed to the harsh realities of life from a young age. His initiation into the world of crime was not a conscious choice, but a means of survival. As a teen, he began dabbling in petty theft and extortion, honing his skills in manipulation and deception. These early experiences laid the foundation for his future empire, teaching him the art of control and the value of loyalty. But it wasn't just his cunning and ruthless tactics that set Lucky apart. He had an uncanny knack for evading the long arm of the law, a trait that earned him his nickname. Whether by sheer luck or calculated measures, Lucky always managed to slip through the cracks, further cementing his reputation as an untouchable force in the criminal world. As the years passed, Lucky's influence grew, his network expanded, and his operations became more sophisticated. From a petty thief roaming the streets of Lower Manhattan, he was slowly transforming into a criminal mastermind, a force to be reckoned with. His story is one of ambition, survival, and an unquenchable thirst for power. From the streets of Lower Manhattan, a criminal mastermind was born. Luciano's ascent to power was a classic tale of ambition, ruthlessness, and cunning. The streets of New York were his playground, and he played the game of power with a cold, calculating mind. His rise began in the murky shadows of the 5 Points Gang, a notorious group that held sway over the city's underworld. Luciano was no mere foot soldier. He was a strategist, a visionary who saw the potential of organized crime beyond the petty squabbles and territorial disputes that defined the gangs of the time. He forged alliances with prominent mobsters like Meyer Lansky, men who shared his vision of a criminal empire built on unity and cooperation. Together they climbed the ranks of the mafia, their names becoming synonymous with fear and respect in the underworld. But Luciano's rise was not without conflict. The Castellamarese War, a brutal power struggle between the city's leading mafia families, threatened to tear the underworld apart. Luciano, however, saw opportunity in chaos. He played both sides, his loyalties as fluid as the changing tides, until he found himself in a position to seize control. And seize control he did, with a ruthlessness that would become his trademark. He orchestrated the murder of his rivals, strategically eliminating the old guard and paving the way for a new order. His actions were brutal, but they were also calculated. He knew that to rise, he needed to clear the path, and so he did, leaving a trail of blood in his wake. In the bloody aftermath of the Castellamarese War, Luciano emerged as the unchallenged ruler of the underworld. His reign was marked by a chilling mix of violence and strategy, fear and respect. He was no longer just a gangster. He was a kingpin, a godfather, the embodiment of the American dream twisted into a dark and sinister form. His ascent was a testament to his cunning and ruthlessness, a story of power and ambition that would forever define the landscape of organized crime. With power in his grasp, Luciano would revolutionize the world of organized crime. His next move, the creation of a governing body that would forever change the landscape of the underworld, the Commission. Luciano saw the potential of unity in the chaos of the crime world. He understood that constant infighting among rival families was not only detrimental to business, but also drew unwanted attention from law enforcement. His vision was to bring a semblance of order to this chaotic world, and so, the Commission was born. The Commission was more than just a board of directors for organized crime. It was a democratic body, a round table of sorts where the heads of the 5 families of New York, and eventually the heads of other influential crime families across the nation, could sit together as equals. Each boss had one vote, and they would collectively make decisions regarding the operations of their respective organizations. This was groundbreaking. Never before had such a structure been implemented in the world of organized crime. The commission was a platform for negotiation and conflict resolution, keeping the streets relatively blood-free and the money flowing smoothly. It was an ingenious strategy that not only maintained peace and order among the various crime families, but also ensured profitable operations. Luciano's commission also acted as a regulatory body, setting rules and policies for the members to follow. It dealt with issues such as territory disputes, business deals, and even assassinations. The commission was the judge and jury of the underworld, a testament to Luciano's genius and foresight. His creation of the commission was not a mere consolidation of power, it was a complete transformation of the crime world. Luciano took the disarray of rivalries and vendettas and turned it into an organized, efficient machine. The commission was, in essence, the underworld's version of a government, and Luciano was its visionary architect. Luciano's commission was not just a symbol of his power, but an instrument of his vision for organized crime. It was the embodiment of his belief in unity, order, and above all, business. Luciano's legacy is not just in his rise to power, but in the enduring structure he built, which continues to influence organized crime to this day. But even the mightiest can fall, and for Luciano the law was closing in. Despite his impressive criminal empire, Luciano's reign was not to last. In 1936, he was arrested on charges of compulsory prostitution. This marked the beginning of the end for the notorious Gangster. The trial that followed was a spectacle, capturing the attention of the nation. Luciano, the man who seemed untouchable, was now in the hands of the law. The evidence against him was overwhelming, and despite his best efforts, he was sentenced to 30 to 50 years in prison. The mighty Luciano, who once ruled the underworld, was now confined to a cell. Yet, even from behind bars, Luciano's influence was far from diminished. During the Second World War, he offered his assistance to the US government. His contacts within the Italian-American community and the waterfront unions were invaluable in ensuring the security of the American ports. This contribution to the war effort was not forgotten. In a twist of fate, it was this contribution that led to his release in 1946. But freedom came with a price. Luciano was deported to his birthplace, Italy, never to return to the United States. He left behind his empire, his power, his influence, everything he had worked for. But the law had finally caught up with him. His deportation marked the end of an era, the end of Luciano's reign over the American underworld. Luciano's story is a stark reminder of the impermanence of power. He rose to incredible heights, only to fall just as dramatically. His downfall serves as a cautionary tale about the consequences of a life in crime, yet his influence on the criminal world was undeniable and his legacy in the underworld endures. In the end, even lucky Luciano couldn't evade justice forever. Exiled from the land where he rose to power, Luciano was down, but not out. After being deported to Italy in 1946, Luciano was far from his New York empire, but he wasn't removed from the world of organized crime. His influence reached beyond borders, and his cunning mind kept him in the game. Life in Italy was different, but Luciano adapted. He moved to Havana for a while, trying to rebuild his empire from the Caribbean. But the US authorities were watching, and he was forced back to Italy, where he lived out the rest of his days. Yet, even in exile, Luciano's hand never left the tiller of organized crime. He was involved in the international drug trade and continued to influence the Italian-American mafia from across the ocean. His legend grew, and he became a symbol of the underworld, a testament to resilience in the face of adversity. In 1962, Luciano's life came to an end. He died of a heart attack at Naples International Airport, a world away from the streets of New York, where he had once been king. His death marked the end of an era, yet it was far from the end of his influence. Luciano's legacy continues to reverberate through the world of organized crime. His establishment of the commission, his reorganization of the mafia into a modern streamlined machine, these innovations continue to shape the underworld. His name is synonymous with power, ambition, and ruthlessness, a symbol of an American dream twisted into something darker. And in popular culture, Luciano lives on. In countless books, films, and TV shows, his story is retold, his persona reimagined. He remains an enduring fascination, a figure of intrigue, and a symbol of the dark side of ambition. Lucky Luciano's story is a testament to the dark allure of power, ambition, and the American dream gone awry. His story is a stark reminder of the price of unchecked ambition and the enduring allure of the underworld. From the streets of New York to the corridors of power in the underworld, Lucky Luciano was a symbol of a dark era in American history. His story is a labyrinth of ambition, power, and cunning strategies that propelled him from a small-time hoodlum to one of the most influential figures in organized crime. Born to humble beginnings, Luciano's thirst for power and an uncanny knack for survival led him on a path that would change the face of the underworld. His ascent from a foot soldier to the boss of bosses is a tale of audacity and sheer will. He not only survived, but thrived in the cutthroat world of organized crime, making allies and enemies in equal measure. Luciano's genius lay not just in his ability to navigate the treacherous waters of the underworld, but also in his vision for a more organized, efficient, and profitable crime syndicate. His creation of the Commission, a governing body for the mafia, was a masterstroke that changed the landscape of organized crime. It brought structure, order, and a semblance of rules to a world that was otherwise chaotic and unpredictable. But power and ambition come with a price. Luciano's downfall was as dramatic as his rise. His deportation to Italy marked the end of an era, but it did not diminish his influence or his legacy. Even in exile, Luciano's name continued to command respect and fear in the underworld. His story is a testament to the fact that power, once attained, is intoxicating and all-consuming. Luciano lived by his rules, dictated terms to a world that was hidden from plain sight, and left a legacy that continues to shape the underworld. Lucky Luciano, a name that will forever echo in the annals of crime history. A man who lived by his rules, died by his fate, but left an indelible mark on the underworld.